Hi, everyone. Very good evening to the webinar. Thanks for waiting. So basically, today we will be talking about mainly about decentralization, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and what is all this about, and what is the future, and how we can actually earn money through this technology, and also how we can be going ahead in this technology, and we can be in the forefront. So for that, basically, we need to understand few basic things before we start. So today's session, I'll be focusing on explaining what exactly a decentralization is, what exactly blockchain is, how it's going to help us, and all these details. So to start with, so it's just my basic profile. I'm not going to go deep into it. So yes, so when we start here, what is a cryptocurrency, or what is a decentralized blockchain? So basically, it is an online democracy. It's a call to defend democracy. We all know centralized process and decentralized processing. So it's about democracy. So I'll explain why I say it's a democracy. So we know the difference between a democracy and an autocracy. So basically, for example, in democracy, leaders are usually elected. A leader, that means everybody has a say in who is going to rule us and what is going to happen. Lenders' term in office is limited. Election must be held regularly. Citizens can openly criticize their government. So it shows that everybody has, a role to play. But whereas in autocracy or dictatorship, leaders usually self-appointed or through hereditary. Leaders for life or until new government overthrows. Citizens forbidden from criticizing through threat of force. So this is normally the difference between an autocracy and a democracy. So how is that relevant in cryptocurrency or blockchain is what we are going to look into. So before that, we need to understand the different types of currencies we deal with. So let's say there are two types of currencies. What are these two types of currencies? Currency one is fiat currencies. What are fiat currencies? These are government-backed money. For example, sterling pound, Indian rupee, euro. All these are like euro doesn't fall exactly into that category, but they are government-backed money. So fiat currencies, which is a coin and paper money of a country that is designated as its legal tender, circulates and is customarily used and accepted as a medium of exchange in the issuing country. That is when a tender to a creditor is a valid and legal offer of payment in any jurisdiction. What does that mean? So the main difference between fiat currencies and private currencies are basically fiat currencies are normally backed by government, which means the government is backing that money and there is a promise. So for example, if it's pound sterling and you owe somebody 10,000 pounds or 100,000 pounds, when you pay 100,000 pounds, that debt is clear. So nobody can say, okay, I'm not going to accept it. This is not acceptable. That's not possible. Whereas when you pay in some other form like gold or silver or property or whatever, then they can actually say, no, I'm not going to accept in this form. So that is why government fiat, that's what basically legal tender means. So that means it comes with a promise from the government or the authorities. What are private currencies? So anything used for exchange is normally termed as currencies. So what are private money or non-fiat currencies? Example, gaming tokens. For example, if you play games, then you know that you get tokens and games and all these things which are not actually money, but they are actually as a fiat currency, which means it's just a private exchange between two people. Banana for we can exchange something like a banana for books, or like chicken for microwave or anything for that matter. Basically, the people who are exchanging between the value of That means they're not backed by the government, but they are used by people for exchange of goods and services. So, okay, when we tender the credit is not a valid or legal offer of payment. That's the main difference between a fiat currency and non-fiat currencies. So now again, we learned about fiat currencies and non-fiat currencies. Now let's see the difference between physical currencies and digital currencies. Now, in the same way like fiat and non-fiat, we can actually divide the currencies into physical currencies.
Your voice is breaking, Subhash, for some reason.
As history tells, there has been a type of physical currency, be it gold or silver, but for the dollar of today, the
voice is breaking, Subhash.
Used for purchasing trading items. So that means, like for example, anything where you attach a value, basically like the currency is like the coins or that's the fiat money. But again, basically currency is exist for private money. Also, like a banana can be a private money, like books can be private money. And so anything you can touch and feel, whether it's a fiat or not fiat, we can classify it as the fiat physical currencies. So just one second, please.
Yeah, your voice is breaking, Subhash.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'll try to reconnect again. Yeah. Okay. So, hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, it's better now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think
if
it was
just
because
go
of
back to the previous
slides.
slides.
Sorry.
If you just go back to the previous slides.
Yeah. Okay.
That slides we couldn't hear at all.
Oh,
like
okay,
a breaking from this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'll start from here again. Okay. So there are two types of. We have to. So we can say there are two types of currencies. I'm just going full screen. Hope you can still hear me. Hi, Vic, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start from here again. So we can actually divide currencies into two. One is government-backed currencies, which we can call fiat currencies. So when we divide the currencies into two, it will be mainly fiat currencies and non-fiat currencies. So fiat currencies are actually government-backed money, which means it's a legal tender. So what does a legal tender mean? That means it comes, the money which is backed by government, which comes with a promise that when it is paid, a debt is cleared, is called a legal tender. So in legal terms, it is a legal tender which is coming with a promise from the authorities or the government. So for example, sterling pound. In UK, sterling pounds are fiat money. There comes with a promise. So if you owe somebody 10,000 or 100,000 pounds, then you pay them with fiat money, sterling pounds, then the debt is cleared. Whereas if you tell them, okay, I'll pay you in gold, it's up to the other person whether they want to accept it or not. But when you offer a fiat currency, which is a legal tender in that country, then the other person cannot deny. So that means your debt will be cleared when you pay with the fiat currency. So that's what. But in the same way, in one if, for example, sterling pound, if you take it to India or Sri Lanka, it's not a valid legal tender in that country. So every country, every jurisdiction, the governments or the authorities, they give a legal backing to those currencies. Those currencies are called legal or fiat currencies, legal tender or fiat currencies. Now, what are non-fiat currencies or private money? So non-fiat currencies and private monies are anything that you attach a value and exchange is called a currency. For example, if you exchange bananas for books in the old barter system, then both books and this banana is treated as private money or private currencies. So they are not coming with any legal promise from the authorities, but the people who are exchanging, they attach a value. They say, okay, this is worth this much, that is worth this much, so let us exchange. So that is how it normally works. So anything can be a private money. So why I'm explaining this, I'll come to that shortly. So for example, not just these physical items, there are digital items also which can form part of private money. For example, gaming tokens. These are not legal tenders, but they are private money. So again, like we divided the currencies into two as fiat currencies and non-fiat currencies, or government-backed money and private money. So that's a better way to call it: government-backed and private money, government money and private money. So in the same way, you can actually do it as physical. You can subdivide again into physical currencies and digital currencies. Physical currencies are anything that you can touch and feel. So if you're using some bananas for exchange, that is a physical currency because you can touch and feel. Like the fiat, the currency notes, the coins, the gold, anything you use for an exchange and you can touch and feel is called are called physical currencies. Now, what are digital currencies? Digital currencies are basically something which you cannot touch and feel. It only exists online. It doesn't have a physical existence. So that is what is called digital currencies in a wider, note. So, for example, now let's talk about physical currencies. We'll take two examples: physical currencies, which are government currencies, and physical currencies, which are private money. So, physical currencies, as you know, currency notes, coins, all these are actually physical government currencies. Now, physical private currencies, the jewelries, gold, anything we use for exchange can be treated as a physical private currency. So that means these physical private currencies are not legal tender, whereas physical government currencies are legal tender. Now, you can also see digital government currencies. So it's not just physical currencies, but digital currencies are also like government-backed legal tenders. For example, pound. The balance you see in your wallets like PayPal or that sort of wallets are actually called e-money. What is e-money? E-money is actually the digital representation of a government fiat money, government-backed fiat money. So any legal tender where it's a representation of a fiat money is called legal e-money. Whereas digital private currencies. So what are digital private currencies? Digital private currencies are, for example, if you have if you buy a bullion of gold, you can attach it with your account, and then you can even have a Visa card which is connected with that, and then you can use it based on the value of that. So that's not actually e-money. That's not actually fiat currency. I mean, the digital representation of a fiat currency, but it's a digital representation of a private currency. So the fiat currencies, again, when it comes to digital, it is private currencies can also be digital and fiat currencies can also be digital. Now, again, the virtual only currencies. So what does that mean? That means it doesn't have a physical existence. It is virtual only. So any currencies which are virtual only are called digital only are called can be called virtual only currencies. They can be called digital currencies or virtual currencies, however you want to call it. But you can subdivide that into two. One is centralized and decentralized. So what does centralized mean? Centralized means it is not in a decentralized blockchain. It is centrally controlled in a server or by anybody. The transactions are not entered by miners. It's just an internal transaction. These are called centralized currencies. And decentralized. So that's where we started with the democracy and the decentralization. So that is where the cryptocurrencies become a new revolution. The decentralized cryptocurrencies, which means these currencies are digital only, but they are not centrally controlled by a company or a government or any central authority. These are decentralized. So how does it become decentralized? That's what we're going to learn. Now, before that, just to wind up, I'll just show this graph here. So again, currencies, primarily medium of exchange. So we can actually divide it into two: government-backed currencies and private money. So what are government-backed money? So government-backed money are called fiat money. Government-backed legal tenders, they are legal tenders. And again, physical, they are physical, like the existence is normally in it's always in notes or currencies or any physical form. Whereas e-money, digital representation. So the digital representation of the physical fiat money is called e-money. Now, there is not, as of now, there is no government who has issued a digital only currency. So, but many governments are thinking about it. They're thinking about issuing cryptocurrencies, digital only currencies. So basically, even the government when issues when the government backs it up, it's called digital only fiat money. But as of now, there is nothing like that. Now, whereas in private money, it's gone much beyond that. So, non-fiat currencies, they're not legal tenders. Anything can be a private money when you use it for exchange between two parties. So, physical example are gold, in the barter system, anything you exchange physical goods, that's physical private money. Now, digital only private money, there are already digital only private monies, which are normally the virtual, the gaming tokens and everything are like virtual only private money, so they are digital. And in the physical money, there is digital representation of gold, which is the digital, but it has a physical representation. It's just representing something which is physical. Whereas in digital only, the private money has advanced to one more section, which is called crypto decentralized digital only assets. So basically, they are decentralized and they are digital only, but they are decentralized. So now we'll learn more about decentralization. So if we actually look into this one, the previous slide, you can see the advancement is actually in these two areas, which is digital only, because physical government has digital representation of physical, also fiat money has. Non-fiat physical, the government has, and digital representation of physical, the private money has. But these two things, which is digital only version, which is centralized, and digital only version, which are decentralized, is only in private money. And crypto can be centralized and decentralized. So the crypto decentralized is actually taking it to a different level. And that's what we are discussing today. So what is a centralized ledger and distributed ledger? So basically, the technology behind is blockchain. And blockchain, what is a distributed ledger? Blockchain is basically a distributed ledger. And why is it called a distributed ledger? What is the difference between centralization and decentralization? So when it comes to centralization, so for example, a bank, so there are like client A, B, C, D, etc. For example, I am A, you are B, you are C, and we all bank with Barclays. So our balance, the transfers and everything from our account is actually centrally controlled by Barclays, because they enter the transactions, they deduct the transactions, they credit the transactions, they maintain your balance. So it's all centrally controlled by Barclays. So if your account is with Barclays, then HSBC cannot change it. Only Barclays can edit it. So that's centrally controlled by the bank. Now, what is distributed ledger? In blockchain, what happens is it is not centrally controlled by any one person, but it is actually many miners who are actually entering these transactions. So it's decentralized. So it's not centrally controlled. Now, what is the importance of it, and how does a decentralized ledger work? Is something we'll be going through in the next few slides. So just again, one more example for centralized ledger. So clearing houses, they have centralized ledger, which is maintained by all the banks. So they enter it, again, it's a centralized one. This is an example of a decentralized ledger. So for example, currently the clearing houses, they maintain a centralized ledger, and that's how the online transaction, everything is possible like on a click of a button. So the clearing house is maintaining a centralized ledger, and every bank is trusting, like every account holder is trusting the banks are trusting the clearing houses. Whereas in a decentralized ledger, when it is made available for banks, and many central governments are thinking about it, the centralized portion of the clearing houses will not exist, but everybody will be able to access the same ledger, and they will be able to make entries. For example, there is no ledger for Barclays separate, there will be no ledger for HSBC separate. All the accounts will be in one ledger where all the parties have access. So that's decentralization. That's just another example. So how is that relevant to us? So basically, if you actually look at how the world has evolved, how the currencies has evolved, we know that the currencies evolved for one reason, which is convenience, right? So because if you actually look at the first, the market, it was barter system. Only private money existed. People were exchanging goods for another goods. like banana for books, chicken for oven or whatever. They were exchanging between each other, and everything was private money. No government money was there. Then actually the currencies, gradually the idea of currencies came in. So the centralized value, it was easy for exchange and widely accepted. So the gradual centralization of the currencies began because of the ease of use, because people started using gold as a standard, but again gold bars, but it became not practical to carry so much of gold bars along. So then it came up with, evolved as like coins of different metals. And then again, still that was not convenient for large transactions. So then evolved the currencies, which is like the currency notes, because it's much more lighter, larger denominations, easy to carry. So we all started using that. And then what happened? So basically, you can see that the technology is evolving. Now we have, we tap and go, like phone pay. All these technologies gradually evolving. So why are these technologies evolving? These technologies are evolving only for one reason, which is convenience of use. So why did we get rid of barter system, or we reduce the use of barter system? It's because it was not convenient. So if I come and see you in London and I want to buy books from you, maybe I'll have to carry chickens with me. So just to avoid that, because of the use, we moved on to newer versions of the currencies. So just to give you an idea of the evolution of currency, I'll just, sorry, one second. Okay, I'll just show you this slide so that you can understand the evolution of currencies. So it all started with barter system, where no centralized currencies existed. It was all decentralized. Everybody was having their own private money, and they were actually negotiating between each other and exchanging goods and services. Then came gold, then came metal coins, then came paper money, then came plastic cards. Okay, so we all now use these plastic cards. Why? Because again, carrying large amounts of cash and currency notes became inconvenient. So we started using plastic cards. So we just need to carry it in our wallet, and it became easier. Then again, we didn't want to carry the plastic cards, so we started using the mobile phones for mobile pay, tap and pay, wallets, and all those things. So again, this cryptocurrencies. So the new evolution is cryptocurrency. So just imagine what is happening here. Now it started from barter system, and then gold, metal, paper money, plastic, electronic money. All these were basically from actually metal coins. It all became centralized. So the metal coins, even gold was private money. Then when the metals came, the paper money, the plastic money, electronic money, these all our transactions became centralized. These currencies are centrally controlled and issued by authorities or governments, or who was ruling the country. So the currency system became centralized. Now, what are cryptocurrencies? So basically, if you actually look at why we went to centralization, the reason we went to centralization is because of ease of use and convenience mainly. In the same way, now the old barter system is coming back in the form of cryptocurrencies. And why people are using cryptocurrencies? The main reason why people are moving on to cryptocurrencies is because of convenience. So that is where the evolution and the revolution is happening. So basically, to give you a simple example of how convenience can change things, we all used smart feature phones before, and then we all switched to smartphones. Now we don't want to go back to feature phones, because we'll have to stop using many of the apps which we are using on a day-to-day basis, and we won't be able to access Facebook or many social media applications and other applications, banking. All these services will cut off if we move back to feature phones. So now, because we are used to this convenience, we don't want to go back. In the same way, now people are getting used to the online decentralized digital currencies, which are cryptocurrencies. And because of the use of it, and because of the ease of use of these cryptocurrencies and transactions and cross-border transactions and everything, people are moving back to decentralized currencies or decentralized barter system. So this is what the evolution is happening. Just before that, I'll just take these two slides as well. So where the legal side of it and how that what are the legal frameworks and how does it work. So cryptocurrencies and fiat currencies. We already discussed about it. We then discussed about the the physical currencies and digital currencies and how the technology is evolving. So will so the question now many people ask is like, will it be given the status of a currency and be regulated in UK, US, or India, or any country for that matter? What the decentralized cryptocurrencies, will it be regulated and will it become a fiat currency? Well, if the question is whether it's going to become a fiat currency, it's highly unlikely, because the government will never accept, never, I believe it will never accept a decentralized currency to be a legal tender, because for the simple reason that it doesn't have control over it. Because normally the government only makes a currency legal tender when the government has absolute control over it. So if the government is issuing a centralized cryptocurrency, then they might do. But in decentralized form, it is highly unlikely. So as per law, it is going to remain as a private money or digital asset. So it seems that in US, UK will treat cryptocurrencies as an asset or commodity, which is good enough for the evolution of the technology, so that the full implication of it could be studied. So basically, even now, the FCA has come up with classifications of cryptocurrencies as digital utility tokens, exchange tokens, etc., etc. So none of them are fiat currencies; they are all private money, just the digital representation of private money. Or digital assets, if you want to call it that way. So the next question is: does the law treat it as currency, or else what is the legal framework for it? Cryptocurrencies are actually much more than currencies and exhibits different legal characteristics depending on the context in which they are examined: transactional law, tax law, etc., etc. So as I already explained, they are not digital currencies. They are treated as digital assets or digital commodities. So currently the three definitions which is accepted, more definitions are going to come probably, and it's going to come soon. So it's currently utility tokens, exchange tokens, and security tokens. Now, again, most of us know what G20 countries represent. These are the G20 countries: India, United Kingdom, Argentina, Germany. All these are part of G20 countries. So what is the importance of G countries? Why do we want to discuss about G20 countries? Because the way the recommendations of G20 countries and the framework they are recommending, especially the FATF. FATF is financial, action, a body for, to control and regulate and to help the governments to form the rules for regulating of, financial activities in those countries. And there are 36 members. So what are the standards followed by the G20 and the FATF? So basically, countries that seriously diverge or do not adopt recommendations face being blacklisted. So if we actually look at the recommendations from G20 and FATF, we will get an understanding of how the legal framework is coming together. So what are the recommendations? So all these 36 countries. So currently what the recommendation of FATF is, they have already adopted travel rule. Both Korea and Singapore have passed legislation that compels VASPs. So these are VASPs are basically crypto exchanges to comply with new anti-money laundering framework. What does it mean? So basically, the recommendation from these bodies, G20 and FATF, to all participating countries is simple: that you have to have proper KYCs and AML checks in place, so that it's not being misused. So basically, it's coming into like the banking system where you have to do KYC and things like that. So basically, that means the digital assets are going to be there. It's going to be part of our day-to-day life as private money. But the custodians or the companies that are helping us to deal with the cryptocurrencies and transactions and exchange and everything will have to have a proper KYC and AML policy in place, which means that anybody opens an account, they have to do KYC. and all those things. So basically, that is where the regulations are coming up. So from this, we can understand where the world is going. So basically, cryptocurrencies are going to be are going to be here, and they're going to stay. So the EU's fifth anti-money laundering directive, which requires exchange to register with local regulators and demonstrate compliance, came into force at the beginning of 2020, and by 2021 Jan, everything will be in fully regulated for KYC and AML. So that means the assets, the digital assets, the private money part of it, the online transaction, everything is going to be there. But any company who's helping the customers to do these transactions or hold, they have to comply with the KYC and AML rules, like any banks or any financial institution for that matter. So this is the same slide we discussed. So this is the evolution. So now you know that the barter system, gold, metal, paper, plastic, electronic money, and it's going back again to the decentralized private money. So again, in all this forms of money, the key important thing for a government to look into is like whether the proper KYC and AML is done. So that is the only thing which is going to mainly come and become part of the cryptocurrency. So basically, cryptocurrencies are here to stay, and they are here because it's a convenient thing. It is much user friendly, and many people are starting to use it. So once people get used to it, as we know from the beginning, I said we moved from barter system to a centralized currency because of convenience. Now the world is moving away from centralized currencies to decentralized currencies, again because of convenience. So this is how the technology is evolving. So again, just highlights. So we discussed what distributed ledger is. It's a decentralized ledger, which means nobody has control. So what do you mean by nobody has control? I will explain that how the mining happens or how the recording of transactions happens. So blockchain and innovation. So what is this? So as I mentioned, this is evolving because it's becoming more and more convenient and more people want to participate in it. We should think about the blockchain as an innovation like internet. So we all know that when internet came, it was not regulated. Then it evolved, it changed everybody's life. And based on which all departments or which all areas internet got started to be used, accordingly the regulations came in. So in the same way, it's a very big revolution which is happening at the moment. So, and it's called a revolution which is much bigger than the internet. The reason for that is because internet came, it was all centralized. Now it's a decentralized system where you can transfer assets between two parties online. So basically the barter system. So now you can actually carry on your barter system online without a central authority helping you to do it, or it doesn't require a central authority or a central organization or a company or a government to facilitate those transactions. For example, in the old barter system, you didn't want anybody. You can just call your friend and exchange something for something. You just change hands. In the same way, over the internet, now you can do that. That's the biggest thing. Before, if you want to make a transaction, if you want to transfer money to somebody, then you need to depend on the banks, or you need to depend on the forex or anybody who has central control. Now with the evolution of Bitcoin and everything, you can transfer directly to a person without having to rely on any central party. How does that work is something we're going to check. And the technology is evolving on a daily basis. So cryptocurrency evolution based on blockchain protocol 1 is actually transfer of assets. Then the smart contract based on blockchain protocol 2 came into being when it is Ethereum blockchain was launched. So it's evolving on a daily basis. I'll just play a video just to understand how the decentralized system works, and how is it possible to do a decentralized transaction without the involvement of a third party. So I'll just play the YouTube video for you.
When you want to buy something normally, using your normal bank card, this is what happens. I give my card details to the shop. The shop asks the bank if I'm good for the money. The bank checks its records to see if I've got enough in my account. If I do, it lets the shop know. It updates its records to show the movement of money from my account to the shop's. Oh, and it takes a little cut for its trouble. Now, if you wanted to remove the bank from that system, who else would you trust to keep those records and not alter them or cheat in any way? Well, I wouldn't trust you. I wouldn't trust you. In fact, I wouldn't trust any single person, but I might trust everyone. The idea is you don't have a central record of transactions. Instead, you distribute many, many copies of this ledger around the world. Each owner of each copy records every transaction. So, to buy something using cryptocurrency, I give the shop my details. The shop asks all the bookkeepers if I'm good for the money. The bookkeepers all check their records to see if I have enough. If I do, they tell the shop, and then all update their records to show the movement of money. So there's no way that a forged transaction can make it in. If I try to alter a ledger, it won't match all of the other copies, and it gets rejected. Oh, and one of them, at random, will be given a reward of some newly created cryptocurrency. This is how cryptocurrencies work. And remember, all of these bookkeepers, all of these ledgers, they're not actually people, they're computers. Lots of computers. They're computers. Lots of computers.
All right, okay, so we'll just go back to the PPT. Okay, hope you can see my screen. Yeah, okay, so as I mentioned, because of convenience, the technology is evolving, and we know that these companies have helped us to to change and get into more and more convenient technology. For example, Nokia, we started using the feature phones, the mobile phones. The best one was Nokia, and then innovated mobile phone industry started by Nokia. Basically, Apple, changed the way we use phones. It came up with smartphones, and then we are now able to take the usage of mobile phones to a totally different level. So Facebook innovated social networking, started by Orkut. Google innovated internet search, started by Yahoo. Tesla innovations are transforming the auto industry. In the same way, the technology is evolving, and the decentralized system is changing the way we deal with things. I'll just before we go more detail into cryptocurrencies and why we should participate, I'll just play a quick video.
Bitcoin and things like it is the equivalent of the red pill, okay? We are entering a completely world of uncharted water right now.
Have you made any investments in Bitcoin?
So, I mean, I own Bitcoin in my hedge fund, I own Bitcoin in my fund, I own Bitcoin in my private account. It is a huge deal. It's a huge, huge, huge deal. Because what you're talking about right now is for the next 3 to 5 years, an unbelievably better store value. It is gold 2.0.
I think this is a currency that's really going to work eventually.
Well, I think it is working, and there will be other currencies like it that may be even better. But in the meantime, there's a big industry around Bitcoin, and people have made fortunes out of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, there is no Bitcoin company, there is no Bitcoin building. There's not even a Bitcoin server anywhere that you could shut down. It is completely distributed. That's what's unique about Bitcoin. It is, for the first time, a way for the two of us to exchange value online without a third-party intermediary. until the invention of Bitcoin, for you and me to exchange money online, we had to employ a third party, like PayPal, like Visa, like MasterCard, right? And we live in the 21st century. If we want to have a video call to China, we can do that for free. But to send a couple $100, which is essentially just ones and zeros being moved around, costs 5% plus takes over a day.
Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap it can be. Bitcoin is better than currency in that you don't have to be physically in the same place. And of course, for large transactions, currency can get pretty inconvenient.
You'll see Bitcoin trading at 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. Rick Falkvinia does an excellent analysis. He predicts that Bitcoin will capture between 1 and 10% of the global Forex market, which implies a price of between $100,000 to $1 million per Bitcoin. Most of the people who are on the sidelines not buying Bitcoin today will start to buy Bitcoin when it gets over 1,000. And then a greater percentage of people will definitely plow into Bitcoin when it starts to get over 10,000.
I'm still predicting Bitcoin, $10,000 per Bitcoin in 3 years.
Casares, he is the CEO of Zappo, which is a Bitcoin wallet and Bitcoin vault.
I think it's mostly a very positive thing. I think we're going to see ups and downs like with any other emerging technology. But I think Bitcoin is here to stay, and it makes sense that it be taxed and treated like any other.
So let's make a bold call here. In 10 years, what do you think Bitcoin will be worth? One Bitcoin.
Between $500,000 and $1 million.
A lot of people are just seeing the charts and thinking, how high will it go? What I'm doing is counting backwards. I mean, this is a transactional currency, and it is a store of value. As such, it is a product and a service competing on a very tangible market for stores of value and for transactional currencies. So what is the size of that market?
Right, and this is important.
And how big a market share can Bitcoin realistically take within a foreseeable time frame? Right. When you ask that question, then you come up with a market cap of Bitcoin total, and then you divide that by the number of Bitcoin in circulation by your estimated time. And seeing how Chinese are buying Bitcoin like crazy, I actually had to adjust this number upwards. But then you come up with a number of about $2 to $5 million per Bitcoin.
I suggest that everyone go back to buy one Bitcoin. Not too much, only one is enough. If everyone in this world, people, just to go back buy one Bitcoin, you know, the Bitcoin value go to the $1 million. And when the Bitcoin have $1 million, you know, all around the world will be crazy, and everyone will be the follow, and the other digital currency just to be, you know, be grandson of the Bitcoin. So for me, I think for a lot of people, they don't exactly understand why it's Bitcoin.
Is Bitcoin the currency of the future, or is it the payment system they're developing?
Bingo! It's the payment system. It's the blockchain encryption, and they're interesting things. I think Bitcoin, or the really blockchain encryption that's behind it, has a greater ability to bring more of the world's population out of poverty than anything we've seen.
If you're new to Bitcoin, take your time to go out there and Google it and learn about it. It truly is one of the most important inventions in the history of humankind, and certainly the most important invention since the internet. Go out there, make a Bitcoin wallet, get involved, start using it, learn about all the positive ways in which this is going to improve the lives of every single person on the planet. Get involved, do it today. It's going to help everybody. Thank you.
All right, okay. Okay, hope you can see my screen now. So coming back to the PPT again, so I'll just, so we just heard like different views of, you know, how the technology is evolving, what is the future, and, you know, how it's going to, you know, turn up in the coming years. So as we all know, these companies actually changed the way the world you know, used to function. So we know now it's all internet based, it's all evolving. So all these companies are coming up with technologies which is making our life easier and easier, for that matter. Now, whether we like it or not, you know, the smartphones of tomorrow are going to come with inbuilt crypto wallets. Many of the smartphones, some of the smartphones already has this feature in there. So it's like a camera in our phone. crypto wallets are going to be part of our day-to-day life. It's going to be part of our phones, smartphones, and everything. So it is actually evolving, and it is highly imminent that this is going to be what people will be using in the near future. Okay, now let's have a look at what happened in the crypto industry and what is the attitude we should be carrying. So, for example, on the 22nd of May 2020, 10,000 Bitcoin was exchanged just to get one pizza. So what does it mean? In 2020, it is worth more than 100 million. How much is it worth? It's more than 100 million. 10 years before, it was even difficult to buy a pizza with that. It was highly, the usability side of it, the liquidity side of it, it was highly difficult at that time, because even 10,000 pizza was given to get one, Bitcoin was given to get one pizza. And today, 10,000 Bitcoin is worth 100 million, which is just 10 years of time. So we need to have a long-term vision when you come into this business. When you come into dealing with crypto assets, we should have a longer vision of 5 to 10 years. So that is where the benefit is going to lie, because it's going to obviously take some time for people to get involved, use it, and the transactions start flowing and everything. So the more usable a currency is in the future, the more demand is going to be there. So it is actually a long-term thing. If you're looking into not trading and making profit, there are different concepts, which is holding concept and which is trading concepts. So trading is completely speculation based, which means the value can be up and down, and if you're trading, then you can lose money, you can gain money, anything can happen. Whereas holding concept is different, because holding concept, you get certain benefits for holding the currencies, and in future, when more and more people come into holding for enjoying the benefits and use the tokens, the value keeps growing. So there's two different concepts. So what does blockchain offer to the world? So global cryptocurrency market is ready to compete with the conventional stock exchanges and offer better terms for new projects and financing. Thousands of exchanges are already live worldwide. Millions of traders are participating, and billions of trading volume in cryptocurrency and usage is happening on a daily basis. So the technology and security, now whether it's a secure technology or not, trading transparency is guaranteed by blockchain technology. Can be built in a way that exchange operators can't access customers' funds. Distributed blockchain network guarantees the absence of central point of failure. Now, this is about the security side and the technology side of it. So that means, for example, for any company or for a bank for that matter, the centralized ledgers are normally held in servers, 1 or 2 servers. And if when somebody want to hack it, they just need to take control of the server, because it's centrally and stored in a centralized server. Whereas a distributed ledger, as we saw in the video, it's not like that. A copy of the distributed ledger is stored in millions of computers of miners. So even if one computer gets hacked, it's not going to make any difference, because at the same time, these millions of computers all around the world need to be hacked at the same time, and the transactions need to be changed, which is practically impossible, as we all know, rather than just attacking one server and taking control. So that's the biggest difference between the decentralized. That's a highly secure, and it's very difficult to hack, because it's already spread out in millions of computers around the world. So that's why people have now trusted decentralized system and moving away from the centralized system. Now, why we are talking about this, because I know that many of you might have already attended the sessions or might know about the technology, about decentralization and everything. Yes, we are talking about this just to refresh everything, so that we have a basic understanding of what blockchain is, what this industry is, and what this industry has to offer us. Because in the near future, we'll be launching different decentralized systems where we can actually benefit and take the business forward to an industry, interesting levels, and make good income from that, because the decentralized technology is evolving. And as a company, we are also researching, we are also developing, and we are nearly there. So we will be launching different decentralized solutions in the coming months. So that is why we are talking about decentralization and the cryptocurrency and the basics of it, so that we all refresh ourselves, we all prepare ourselves for the new big revolution which is going to come very soon. So let's again look into blockchain and work from home plans, what we have. So we can participate in a in the decentralized blockchain system as a miner, as a shopper, as a trader, or as an investor. It's up to us. So there are two things. One is proof of work and proof of stake. So it's two different concepts. Proof of work is defined as an expensive computer calculation called mining blocks. So basically your computer is doing the job, and you are getting paid for the work your computer does. That's basically what a proof of work means. Proof of stake means it's slightly different. You are participating in mining by just holding the currency. I mentioned about holding currencies and the benefits of it. You're just holding the Bitcoin, Ethereum, CCRB, or anything in different wallets, and you start earning different coins as rewards for participating in the mining concept, proof of stake mining concept. So our stake-on is based on this, which will be explained and during the full launch. The soft launch is already over. So the full launch, we will explain everything and how it works and how you can benefit from it in a larger way. So this is a two different concept, proof of work and proof of stake. Now, again, there are hard forks and soft forks. What are hard forks and soft forks? So basically, hard fork means like if you had Bitcoin when the hard fork was happening, then you got Bitcoin Cash. Because if you look at the original chain, 1, 2, 3, the first block, second block, and the third block, then from here, a copy was taken. So the original blocks continued, whereas the new, up until the third block, it was just copied. So you get the equal amount of the new coin based on whatever balance you had in the original chain. But from here, the transactions are different. From here, from fourth onwards, it follows a different algorithm. And from here, it follows a different algorithm. So by just holding cryptocurrencies during hard fork, you get the new currencies. By stake on mining, you get new currencies. Airdrops. What are airdrops? Airdrops are just for participating, or just to encourage you to participate in a new project or a new blockchain or a new decentralized or the crypto based concepts. You get incentivized for holding accounts in certain exchanges or certain wallets, etc., etc. That's why the stake on, you are getting airdrops into your wallets based on the CCRB you hold in your account. So these are different ways how you can hold it. So democracy cannot succeed unless those who express their choice are prepared to choose wisely. The real safeguard of democracy, therefore, is education. So again, that's what I was mentioning, that today we are discussing about decentralization and the cryptocurrency and the future of it. The main reason is because we need to understand, we need to refresh the basics so that we have a clear understanding, so that we can promote it in a larger way, especially when we launch the decentralized platforms and decentralized earning opportunities in the very, very, very near future, because we are nearly there. So thank you very much. So now I can take some questions and then maybe we can go from there. Hi, can you all hear me now? Hi, Vic.
Yeah, I think Subhas, you spent quite a lot of time today, because we asked you for 15-20 minutes, but you spent nearly 45 minutes. That's very nice of you. We actually request people to send the question from last week, but we didn't get any response. I think last week you cleared a lot of question from the members. So if they have any question, they can even ask next session.
Sure, no problem. So hope you all, it was informative, and we will be having in the first week of August, I'll be doing a new platform launch where the opportunities are really, really, big and global. So hope to see you all for that very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next session, we're going to start with Sriyanna going to take over the next part
Okay,
of the
cool.
session. Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.